The BMW 3 Series E90 is one of those cars that has earned a reputation that still sparks debates among car enthusiasts today. Produced between 2005 and 2013, this generation of the 3 Series was the fifth iteration of BMW's most iconic model line. It came in different body styles: the E90 sedan, the E91 Touring, the E92 Coupe, and the E93 Convertible. For many, the E90 remains one of the last BMWs to perfectly balance modern technology with a more traditional driving feel, before electronics and downsizing engines began to dominate the lineup. But as with any car, especially one that's now aging, there are things you need to know before buying one. In this video, we'll dive deep into every engine that was offered in the E90, explore their horsepower figures, their strong points, and most importantly, their weaknesses and common failures. On top of that, we'll take a look at the car's chassis, electronics, and other areas where problems tend to arise, so you know exactly what you might be getting yourself into when shopping for one. When the E90 debuted in 2005, it was clear that BMW wanted to push boundaries. It was larger, more comfortable, and more technologically advanced than its predecessor, the E46. Yet it still carried the DNA of the 3 Series: sharp handling, rear-wheel drive balance, and engines that encouraged spirited driving. The lineup of engines was vast, ranging from small 4-cylinder diesels to high-revving straight-six petrols, all the way up to the monstrous V8 found in the M3. With so many choices, understanding each one is essential, because some engines are known to be robust and dependable, while others can become financial nightmares. Let's start with the petrol engines, because for many, they define the soul of a BMW. At the entry level, you had the 4-cylinder petrol options. The most basic was the 316i, offered in certain markets using the N45 and later the N43 engines. Power output ranged from around 115 to 122 horsepower, depending on the version. On paper, it sounds modest, and in reality, it was. These cars were not quick, and they certainly weren't designed for enthusiasts. But they offered BMW ownership at a lower cost. Unfortunately, both the N45 and especially the N43 engines are not recommended today. The N43 in particular is notorious for timing chain issues, injector failures, and coil pack problems. Replacement injectors are expensive, and the chain problems can lead to catastrophic engine failure. The N45 avoided the direct injection system that plagued the N43, but it still wasn't a particularly durable engine. Because of this, the smaller 4-cylinder petrols are generally best avoided unless you find one in perfect condition with excellent service history. Moving up, we arrive at the 320i models, which during the early years used the N46 4-cylinder engine. This unit made between 129 and 150 horsepower, depending on the version. It's a simple engine, but it suffers from common oil leaks, timing chain tensioner wear, and valve stem seal problems, leading to excessive oil consumption. Later in the production run, BMW replaced the N46 with the N43 direct injection engine, which again brought those notorious injector and timing chain issues. For buyers today, these 4-cylinder petrols often appear attractive due to lower running costs and cheaper insurance, but reliability-wise, they are the weak link in the E90 lineup. The real BMW experience starts with the 6-cylinder petrol engines, and this is where the E90 truly shines. The naturally aspirated straight-six has long been a hallmark of the brand, and in this generation, there were several options. The 323i, 325i, 328i, and 330i all used versions of the N52 and later N53 engines. The N52 was a magnesium aluminum block straight-six, producing anywhere between 174 horsepower in the 323i up to 272 horsepower in the 330i. It's smooth, loves to rev, and provides an engaging driving experience. Compared to the smaller engines, it's far more reliable, but not without its issues. The most common faults include failure of the eccentric shaft sensor, problems with the valve cover gasket, and occasional lifter tick in early models. These are annoying but usually not catastrophic. The N52, when maintained with regular oil changes and cooling system care, is considered one of BMW's last truly dependable straight-sixes. Later, BMW introduced the N53 engine, which brought direct injection technology. Power outputs were similar, but reliability was not. The N53 suffered from injector failures, high-pressure fuel pump issues, and NOx sensor problems. These can make the car expensive to maintain, and in some markets, the N53 wasn't even offered due to fuel quality requirements. If you're shopping for an E90 today, the the N52 models are the sweet spot, offering great performance and relatively reasonable reliability. Above these, we find the 335i, which introduced turbocharging to the 3 Series in a big way. Launched with the N54 engine, this 3-liter twin turbocharged straight-six produced 306 horsepower and instantly became a favorite among enthusiasts. The performance was thrilling, with huge tuning potential, but the N54 is also infamous for its problems. High-pressure fuel pump failures were so common that BMW extended warranties in some countries. Turbocharger wastegate rattle and eventual failure are also frequent, requiring costly replacement or rebuild. On top of that, the N54 suffers from carbon buildup on the intake valves due to its direct injection design, requiring walnut blasting every 60,000 to 100,000 kilometers. Injectors and coil packs are also regular consumables. For some, the performance is worth the trouble, but potential buyers need to budget for these inevitable repairs. In 2009, BMW replaced the N54 with the N55 engine in the 335i. This was a single twin-scroll turbo design, still producing 306 horsepower but with a smoother power delivery. The N55 addressed some of the issues of the N54, but it still had its own weaknesses, including occasional turbocharger problems, Vanos solenoid failures, and the same carbon buildup issue. Overall, the N55 is considered slightly more reliable, but it lacks the insane tuning potential of the N54. For a daily driver, though, it's a more sensible choice. At the top of the petrol range sits the M3, equipped with the S65 4.0-liter V8. This engine produced 420 horsepower and revved all the way to 8,400 RPM, making it one of the most special engines BMW ever built. However, it's also one of the most expensive to maintain. The S65 is known for rod bearing wear, which can lead to catastrophic engine failure if not addressed proactively. Throttle actuator failures are also common, costing thousands to fix. Owning an E90 M3 is a dream for many enthusiasts, but it requires deep pockets and careful maintenance to keep it running. Switching over to diesels, which were extremely popular in Europe, the lineup was just as varied. The entry-level 36D and 38D used 4-cylinder engines producing between 115 and 143 horsepower. These were mostly adequate for economy driving, but they had their own issues, especially with timing chains on the N47 engine. The N47 is infamous for its chain failures, often occurring at relatively low mileage, and when the chain goes, the entire engine is usually destroyed. This makes the N47 one of the most feared engines in the BMW lineup, and extreme caution is advised when considering one. The 320d, one of BMW's best sellers, also used the N47 in later years, producing 163 to 184 horsepower. Early models used the M47 engine, which is more robust and less prone to timing chain failure, making it the preferable choice today. Apart from the chain, common diesel issues include clogged EGR valves, DPF problems, and turbocharger wear. With proper care, though, these engines can rack up high mileage while returning excellent fuel economy. The 6-cylinder diesels are generally considered the safest bet. The 325d, 330d, and 335d used variations of the M57 and later N57 engines. The M57, in particular, has a strong reputation for reliability and can easily handle hundreds of thousands of kilometers. The 330d produced around 231 horsepower, while the twin-turbo 335d offered up to 286 horsepower and monstrous torque. These cars were seriously quick, even by modern standards. The main concerns with the 6-cylinder diesels are swirl flap failures in the intake manifold, which can be ingested by the engine with catastrophic results, though many owners have already removed them as a preventative measure. Turbocharger wear, EGR issues, and DPF clogging are also common, but manageable. The N57 that replaced the M57 is still good, but introduced more complexity. So many still prefer the older engine. Beyond engines, the E90 has other areas buyers need to be aware of. The automatic transmissions, particularly the ZF 6-speed used in many models, are generally strong, but they require proper servicing. BMW marketed them as lifetime fill, but in reality, fluid and filter changes every 60 to 80,000 kilometers are essential for longevity. The manual gearboxes are robust, though clutches can wear quickly on higher torque models. The suspension is another area to watch. Control arm bushings wear out, leading to vague steering and knocking noises. Rear subframe bushes also degrade over time, affecting ride quality and handling. Replacing these parts isn't overly expensive, but it's important to factor in. The E90's electric systems can also be troublesome. Faulty footwell modules can lead to lighting failures, iDrive screens can fail, and battery drain issues are not uncommon. Interior quality is generally solid, but wear on the steering wheel and trim is common as these cars age. Water leaks into the trunk area, particularly in the touring models, are another known issue. Rust protection is decent, but on earlier models, wheel arches and the underside should still be checked carefully. When viewed as a whole, the E90 BMW 3 Series offers a wide spectrum of ownership experiences. The safest bets for long-term ownership are the 6-cylinder petrol N52 models and the 6-cylinder diesels with the M57 engine. These provide the balance of performance, reliability, and driving enjoyment that the 3 Series is famous for. The turbocharged petrols deliver thrilling performance but come with heavy maintenance demands, while the 4-cylinder petrols and the N47 diesels should be approached with great caution. What makes the E90 fascinating is that it truly reflects BMW's transition period. It was modern enough to feel current even today, yet old school enough to still carry the mechanical honesty that made the brand so beloved. Buying one now requires knowledge and preparation, but choose wisely, and you can end up with a car that delivers one of the purest driving experiences in its class, all while turning heads with timeless design.